There's a pain that hides in silence, a kind of loneliness that follows you everywhere, even into rooms filled with people. It's that moment when you look around and realize you're surrounded, but you're still alone. This is for the ones who feel invisible, even when the world thinks they're okay. There's a certain kind of loneliness that doesn't come from being alone. It comes from walking into a room full of familiar faces and feeling like your presence barely makes a sound. You sit there, you breathe, you smile in all the right moments, you do everything you're supposed to do, and yet deep down, you feel like a soft shadow gliding quietly through your own life. People hear your voice, but they don't really listen. People see your body, but they don't truly look. People know your name, but they don't know you. It's strange, isn't it? How someone can be physically near you while emotionally miles away. And what hurts the most isn't the silence or the distance or the pretending. What hurts the most is the feeling that even if you disappeared for a little while, nothing around you would really change. This is invisibility. Not dramatic, not loud, not noticeable. Just quiet and constant and heavy in ways you struggle to explain. Maybe you've had moments where you're sitting in a conversation, people talking all around you, voices echoing, laughter bouncing around the room, and you suddenly feel like a ghost, like you're watching life happen from behind a glass window. Your body is there, but your presence isn't. Your energy isn't. Your emotions aren't. And the worst part? No one notices the difference. You look okay. You act okay. You function. But inside, there's a quiet ache, a longing to be seen without having to shout a wish that someone would notice your silence without you having to explain it. Because you're tired of being the listener, tired of being the steady one, tired of being the one who adapts, absorbs, endures, tired of being the one who disappears so others feel comfortable. But here's something important. You didn't become invisible by accident. You didn't wake up one day and decide to fade into the background. This was learned. This was shaped. This was built inside you long before you knew what it meant to have a voice, a need, or a presence. You learned to become invisible because at some point in your life, visibility didn't feel safe. Maybe you grew up in a home where louder personalities swallowed the room, where talking felt like interrupting, where asking felt like burdening, where expressing emotion felt like stirring conflict you didn't want to be responsible for. So, you became quiet, you became observant, you became the one who understood everything and said very little. Or maybe you grew up being the easy child, the one who matured too quickly because the adults around you were too overwhelmed to notice your needs. You didn't want to cause trouble. You didn't want to make things worse. You didn't want to ask for too much. So you became low maintenance, self-sufficient, emotionally flexible. You survived by becoming small. And then, as you grew older, that pattern followed you everywhere. In friendships, you became the one people vented to but rarely checked on. The one who listened for hours but wasn't listened to. The one who supported but wasn't supported. People loved your calmness, your stability, your empathy, but often forgot that calm doesn't always mean okay, and silence doesn't always mean peace. You didn't intend to disappear. You just learned that your loudest voice still wasn't loud enough for the people who were supposed to hear it. So you stopped trying, stopped explaining, stopped asking. You softened yourself so no one would misunderstand you. You minimized your needs so no one would abandon you. You adjusted and adjusted and adjusted until there was almost nothing left to adjust. And eventually, you became invisible even to yourself. You lost touch with what you wanted, with what you felt, with who you were inside. You became the shadow version of yourself, the version that takes care of everyone, but doesn't know how to take care of you. And now you find yourself in situations where you're physically present but emotionally disconnected. You hear people talk, but their voices feel far away. You try to join the conversation, but your words feel too soft. You try to show up, but the world only sees the outline of you, never the depth. People assume you're distant. People assume you're introverted. People assume you're quiet by nature. They don't realize your quietness is not a personality trait. It's a defense mechanism, a shield you build to protect the most sensitive parts of your heart. And what makes it even more complicated is that you don't necessarily want attention. You don't want the spotlight. You don't want to be loud or dramatic. You just want to be understood. You want someone to notice your silence and care enough to check in. You want someone to see the emotions you never put into words. You want someone to feel your presence without needing you to perform for it. But here's the truth people don't tell you. It's not that people don't see you. It's that you've learned to reveal only the smallest, safest pieces of yourself. Not because you're weak, not because you're broken, not because you lack confidence, but because once upon a time, you showed your real self, your real emotions, your real needs, your real voice, and it wasn't handled with care. So you adapted, you protected yourself. You built emotional armor in the form of quietness, agreeableness, and self-erasure. But I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine a version of you who speaks one honest sentence a day. A version of you who chooses something small without apologizing. A version of you who allows your presence to take up 1 inch more space. A version of you who doesn't disappear to make others feel comfortable. You don't need to become loud to be seen. You don't need to become bold to matter. You don't need to become someone else to feel visible. You only need to show a little more of yourself consistently, gently, bravely. Visibility isn't about volume. Visibility is about allowing your inner world to exist on the outside, even if it's just one part at a time. You deserve to be heard without raising your voice. You deserve to be understood without explaining every detail. You deserve to be valued without performing worthiness. You deserve people who see the quiet parts of you, the sensitive parts, the thoughtful parts, the beautiful parts that exist beneath your silence. And the truth is, there are people who will see you. The deep feelers, the quiet observers, the emotionally aware, the people who look past the surface and notice the subtle details, the way your eyes soften when you listen, the way you hold back when you're hurt, the way your silence speaks volumes. These are the people who will recognize your depth without you having to shout it. But before they can see you, you need to stop hiding from yourself. You are not invisible. You are simply unseen in places that were never meant to understand you. The right people will feel you. The right people will hear you. The right people will recognize your presence, even in your quietest moments. You don't have to stay small anymore. You don't have to shrink yourself to protect the people around you. You don't have to dim your light just to make others comfortable. You deserve to exist fully, softly, gently, authentically, unapologetically. And you deserve to be seen not for the mask you wear, not for the calmness you show, but for the quiet, deep, beautiful soul that you truly are.